今年是李小龙逝世50周年，继今年5月我们的论坛举办之后，今天受在美国李小龙生日纪念庆典活动制作的执行制片人和创始人 Howard 的邀请，在曼哈顿时代广场的 AMC 电影院观看了特别放映的 4K 版本的李小龙电影《龙争虎斗》。特别是 LUCIA KAISER 也来到了现场，她是功夫传奇李小龙的香港电影公司的第一位也是唯一一位女性总裁。她在那里谈判了2年，Lucia 是2次获得艾美奖的制片人、慈善家和演讲家。年标准的大美女，她在影片放映后和 After party 上和大家分享了制作这部电影很多幕后的故事。今天遇到许多李小龙的爱好者，还有从非洲肯尼亚来的小伙子。这片的意义就不必多说了，只说全片最霸气台词，木头是不会还击的。李小龙的功夫哲学总结起来就是：很有感情能产生信仰，很有感情能进入精神世界，很有感情能击败幻象。他的动作、表情、嚎叫浑然一体，已达到了得其神、忘其形的境界。
Yeah, it was incredible. I just so you know, my background quickly, some of you might not remember Johnny Carson, but I started with Johnny Carson when I was 18 years old in New York City. And I had some pretty serious credentials as a young girl in the entertainment industry. So I went to Hong Kong on a vacation, and I was sitting on one of those boats. I forgot what, boy, the memories just all flooded back. I feel like I'm in deja vu right now, by the way. Anyway, an older gentleman, by the way, he was only in his 30s. But I thought he was a dirty old man because he kept saying, oh, you're talking to me. And then he said, somehow I was talking to someone else and he heard my background. And he happened to be the CFO. I didn't know this at the time, of Bruce Lee's company. And I said, oh, I love Hong Kong. I wish I could get a job here. I love this place. I really literally fell in love with Hong Kong the minute I was there as a tourist. Anyway, long story short, as probably my movie's going to be called, that's what everyone says, he started telling me that he, is the CFO of Bruce Lee's company, and they were looking for someone possibly with my credentials. Fortunately, I always carried my letters of references around, even, as a young girl, from Johnny Carson, and I also did some other things after Johnny Carson. And so I end up literally, of course it's Hong Kong, they sent a Rolls Royce for me. I thought, oh, that's pretty impressive. I like that. And I go into probably to this day, the most extraordinary conference room I've ever been in. It was unbelievable. And of course, it was all Bruce Lee's pictures. And I sat down, and the secretary came over. I have to just tell this because I remember this so clearly. And said, what would you like to drink? And it was only like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I jokingly said, oh, I'd love to have some Cristal champagne. I mean, I was raised from the Bronx, so but I made money, so I had a very, expensive taste. And believe it or not, literally, in a crystal bucket, a bottle of that champagne I requested came with a golden glass, which I wish I had taken that glass. I'm telling you, to this day, I could have made a fortune on that glass. Anyway, bunch of gentlemen come in, and they were all, Bruce Lee was, I'm not even that tall, I'm only 5'7", and I was a little bit taller than Bruce Lee. And he came in, and it was quite formal, etc., etc. And literally, the interview went on for 5 hours. And I thought, oh, I figured whatever. Long story short, I started with him the following week. He put me up in this magnificent penthouse in Kowloon. And you know, in those days, it was extraordinary. I mean, I had, you know, a lot of people working for me, and he absolutely was so protective of me. He was such a wonderful, extraordinary person, by the way, but he was so protective of me that I actually had 2 bodyguards. You know, I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, they would literally walk. I would go to the restroom, and they would be walking with me to the restroom. I said, guys, you know, I'm okay. I'm okay. The only thing I requested of Bruce Lee, and this was before I signed the contract, I said, I want to become a black belt, but I want you to teach me. And he said, what? He was like in shock. I said, yeah, I'm very athletic, don't worry about it. Well, my body, I became a brown belt, and he taught me. And let me tell you, the men who wanted to date me, once they saw my body, they ran away. It was so bruised. They thought some guy beat me up. But it was to be honest, it was worth every bruise and every bit of pain that I could tell you. And by the way, it comes in handy once in a while. I can tell you stories about men I've flipped on the floor. You don't want to hear that. Anyway, so I'm almost in tears to see this because the year I left him, sorry, the year I went on vacation after before Enter the Dragon was being distributed, and I'm sorry, after Enter the Dragon, right after it was distributed, I took a long vacation. I said I want to go to see some friends in Denmark and Germany and so on. And I ended up in Munich, and I had 4 days to go back to work. And that's when I fell in love. A lot of my friends who were here know the story, but that's when I fell in love at first sight with my husband, Stefan, who passed away unfortunately in Hawaii, but his name was Stefan KAISER. And I was a player. So they were taking bets in Europe that there's no way I'm getting married to anyone. It was very funny. But I fell really in love. And Donna Summer, I don't know if any of you know her, but she was my husband's best friend, and she ended up throwing our wedding party. And we ended up living in Munich 3 years. Then we moved to Hawaii for 23 of the greatest years of my life. But anyway, you don't want to hear about my life. You want to hear about Bruce Lee. I guess I don't want to really keep you too long, but I want to know, anyone have any questions or Howard?
Not everybody enjoy the movie.
Well, Howard is responsible for us to all be here. Thank you, Howard, so much. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. What's the foundation? The Bruce Lee Foundation. Yeah, what is it? It's a foundation for children to teach them self-confidence and for anti-bullying purposes. And we might have another showing in Flushing, Queens, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We're working on that for anyone who couldn't make it today. So appreciate everyone coming, and we're going to Fushimi Restaurant a block away, West 43rd and 8th, for an after party. So everyone's welcome.
So introduce, what's your name?
My name is Paul Moto, and Moto actually means fire in Swahili. I'm from Kenya. And, yeah.
So this time you come to the United Nations for some event?
Yeah, so as a filmmaker, I have traveled across the world. I've traveled across East Africa, and I'm using film actually to advocate and build a new sustainable future. And using film brought me here to the States to attend the United Nations Forum so that we can actually build a voice and build it all over the world. And through that, I came to see the event, the Bruce Lee event, which, oh my God, Bruce Lee is my icon. I love him. He is my mentor. I have grown knowing him and watching his fights. And you know, that was actually something that really made me more interested in film. So yeah, I'm really psyched up and excited.
So how do you think after you saw this movie? What's your feeling?
After I saw this movie, I came to realize that, you know what, whatever a man think of, he become it. Whatever you put in your mind, you become that. And, you know, discipline, because at the end of the day, Bruce Lee is never beaten. He always kicks ass. And, you know, that's why I love him. And, you know, he's always winning, and he has that winning mentality that, you know what, I will stand for the truth, I will stand for what's right, and what the truth and what's right always win eventually at the end. And that for me is what I came to associate Muslim with, eternity, where standing up for what you believe in and standing up for the truth, actually you will forever live in the truth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
As a teenager, you know, we all were influenced from being horny.
All right.
And then 50 years ago, I started.
Well, you were here in New York?
Yeah.
Where in
I'm
Queens?
born and raised in Jersey.
Jersey. Oh, right. What part? Oh, right. No, that's right.
So I guess I was always trying to do some leadership.
Right.
I started a New Jersey Disney fan club.
Oh, when was that?
July 1973. Because he passed away, I cut his picture out of the Daily News and I made a little membership card.
You have to hear Howard's story on how he started his company in Bruce Lee.